Well, now let's start learning some commands and some basic information about Linux. This is chapter 2. Let's begin with section 2.1, the command line interface. So the first question is, what is a command line interface? Actually, this is the one here. We enter commands, we enter text, and we are not using the graphical user interface, such as the background, the window here, the drag and the drop feature, the double clicking on a folder, and then to open another window. These are all GUI, graphical user interface. And we are not going to use that. We control the computer mainly or purely using commands by typing something. For example, let me show you a very common command. For any beginner, this is the first command, most likely. That is for listing thing here. Or there can be many commands used for beginners. This is the one I pick for today. So that's list command. You enter ls, and that's it. That's for display everything, display the content in current directory. And how about just hit enter key? As you can see, there are these directories in the current directory. And you may ask, where is my current directory? There are several ways to figure this out. The easiest one, let's still use GUI, graphical user interface. As you can see, there is a folder here called home. You can drag and drop it by using the GUI and then double click on it. And as you can see, this is the folders inside the home directory. Let's move this a little bit further and then you compare them. This is the desktop, documents folder, and so on. So they are, right, this one is mirrored of the other one. Here give you the visual way to see, to find these directories, even files. There's no file in this directory, but only folders, only the directories. But here contains the same information. And this is the command, right? ls is one of gazillions of commands we can use. Each command is like one action. You want to do something, you enter that corresponding command. Another command can be a change directory command. For example, I want to open the download folder, such as that. So you can double click on it and enter it into it. So how can we do it over here using command? You use the command change directory, cd, and not typing the phrase or text change directory. Use the command available on Linux. So cd followed by, and then the directory you want to move to. So that's the one, right? You enter d OWNLOADS. Is case sensitive. So make sure enter the correct case. Hit enter key. Now you're inside that downloads folder. This is your current directory. If you use ls command to see what's in it, based on the GUI, it shows nothing. Empty folder, right? The folder is empty. If you hit enter, as you can see, nothing displayed. This also confirms the GUI's result. And then this window, this interface, allows us to enter the command. It is called a command line interface, aka terminal. And this is that terminal window. Now let's move to 2.2. It talks about command. We just talked about that command. And the book also shows there are internal commands, also called built-in commands. These kind of commands are built into the shell. This thing is also called a shell. Right? This is the place for us to enter the Linux commands. That's the shell. One example is the one we just mentioned, the cd, change directory command. This is a part of the shell, right? This is the shell. Complete name is GNOME shell. When a user types the cd command, the bash shell is already executing, and I know how to interpret that command. So this require no additional software or programs to understand and run that command. But we have too many commands that are made by others or even other software. We need to run these commands that belong to different applications, or we may need to install new applications, new features, and then start to use more commands. They are not available initially. We have to install a package and then use the commands. These are for the external commands. So these commands are stored in files that are searched by the shell. If you type a list command, then the shell will search through a predetermined list or directories and try to find the name ls that it can execute. As we mentioned earlier, there are more commands made by others, by individual, by third parties. We need to install those package in order to use those commands. You can create your package or functions and then use your own commands. The next thing we're going to cover, or we will cover, is the alias. Aliases can override a built-in command. It's like a nickname. Some commands or a set of commands is too much, too many words, too long. You don't want to use the long name, but you use this command very common. So you can give that an alias. If you just enter the command alias and hit enter key on the keyboard, as you can see here, we have some information, such as alias and then alert equal to something, and then continue reading that. We have the alias, such as grep, G-R-E-P, over here, equals to this quote, single quote, and then the content inside is the important part of the command. Grep color equals to auto, and then alias L means list command ls equal to this. This is the real command with that called option. One command can have many options. So let me show this to you. If you use command ls command, right, list the file and the directories in the current directories alone, it gives you something, but this page or the download folder has nothing in it. How about let's change back to the previous directory, which means we step up. Right here is the GUI. If you go back to this directory, to the parent directory, you can use cd, make sure put a space, and then use 2 dots. The 2 dots means step back, one step back. Go to the previous step, previous level, and then hit enter. Now this part is gone. That means we are in the main user directory, and then you use ls command again. We see the same directories as shown here. Great. Now let me show you different options. If you use ls, put a space, and such as -l. We're gonna list the files and the directories in current directory, but in different style. What kind of style? List style. The L stands for list. And here, as you can see, same files or directories displayed in different formats, but it gives you more information, such as here, right, D, directory. If you see D, that means directory. R readable, W writable, and X is executable. And then we have user and blah, 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 the last modified date and time, and so on. So this gives you more information. If you want to see even all files in this directory, all files and folders, so you can use ls-a. So A means all. As you can see, give you even more stuff. These files are hidden. The files or directories are hidden. But this looks not too organized. Let's say we want to display them in this style. We can even combine the options. It's ls and then hyphen such as la. Now not only showing everything, but in the list command, right? L list command, A all. However, if you read our book, right, example, you can use the ls hyphen and then the list style. And this, right, this is a very popular command, ls. And the ls hyphen L. We use this a lot. We use this a lot, so we want this to be even simpler. So you can use alias to make it simpler. When you type alias, you see here, right, such as L or LS, LA or AL that we entered earlier here at this part. Also give you a F option. You can replace this stuff, right? You don't want to enter this every time with the current created alias for the LL. So you can enter LL instead. It gives you the same thing, right, with the F option. The F means add a symbol after each file name that shows the type, such as if it's a slash, that's for directory. And then here, right, you see the same content, but you don't have to enter the ls space hyphen lsf each time. Just enter the created alias for the ll. Of course, you can create alias too. And then on the book or on the book for 2.2.2 aliases, and the example also shows calendar, right? CAL 2030 and enter, which is here. However, if you're using Ubuntu, you realize this command is not available. This is a command, but system knows it's not available. It's missing it because a newly installed system, it doesn't come with everything, especially those things that are rarely used. It's mainly for saving the space. But at the time we need it, we can simply install the package to have them. So you enter this and realize, oh, calendar is not available. As suggested below, in order to use calendar, we need to install the NCalendar package first. You can use the recommended command, the sudo. We'll talk about sudo very soon. It just gives you root privileges to do some advanced actions. apt and then install, and then this command. This require internet, so make sure your system connects to internet, otherwise it won't work. You cannot install that. This require passcode. In my case, it's 123123. So enter the passcode for your account. Now it's installing and done, finish. Yeah, this package is not too large, so can be done quickly, pretty fast. Now we are going to enter the command. You can use the arrow key on the keyboard, the up and down arrows to to get the previous commands, the previously entered commands. And one more time, you see that's the command I entered. Earlier, it doesn't work. Now, the calendar CAL should work now, but let's try NCAL. It's NCAL, and enter that. Now you can see it shows the months and the dates in the year 2030. Of course, you can replace this by a different year, 2050. And you can use alias to replace this if you like. For example, I can use alias, ALIAS, and then you can use my calendar. This is the alias, the nickname you give to it. So instead of entering NCAL 2050, you can enter this alias instead. But system need to know what does that alias equal to. So you put the equal quote, and then you put NCAL, right? We are not using CAL showing on the book. We use a newer command for Ubuntu. That's NCAL 2050. And then close that. Use enter. Great. And if you enter alias, it shows the newly assigned command, the one you just created. It's my CAL. And if you use that alias, it shows the same information, the months and the dates in 2050. Now let's move to 2.3. On our book 2.3, that's the basic command syntax. The example, how about this? Let me clear the screen. This way, our page is not too messy. And then we are in section 2.3 of the book. You enter ls, and we know these are the directories under it. And there are options. We know the options such as ls option A. And here's everything. And let's move to 2.3.1. We want to specify the arguments. And one command on that example is called touch. Touch means to create a new file. For example, let's use this command seen here. These are the directories. Let's create something new. And we can use touch command. Put a space. And then new file. Let's just call it new file, same as the file name on the book. And then hit enter key. If you open the GUI, you see here we have a new file being created. Using the command line, you see this is the new file. If you see this kind of a name with blue color, those are directories. For file, that's white text. For example, if you use / and then etc /ppp. Let's see what's the result. If you hit enter, well, we have different content displayed here. So the meaning is here. When you use this command, yeah, we can put options, but we can also put different attributes, such as here. This is a directory. It's a different directory. The directory, this command lists the files and the directories inside the /etc/ppp folder. And this directory is 2 levels up, 2 steps back based on the current directory. which means it's under the Linux root directory. The first slash means it's the Linux root directory. Let's see it. Currently, we are in the home directory. Let's go back. Let's just cd and then hit enter, which is same. So use ls. As you can see, this is the current directory. If you use cd and put the two dots, that means we step back. Right? We return to the previous directory there, home. So it's like here, where we are in the home earlier, but now we want to go to the step before it. Here, this is that directory. So if you use list command, you see there is a user folder called, this is my user folder, mo, my username. Of course, at the time you install Ubuntu, you may assign different username. You see a different one, your username. And then this is the one. And then the next step, you can enter. So here. So this is in a different directory. What if you use cd etc? As you can see, the etc folder is not showing here. It is in the one step up directory, the parent directory of the current directory. Cool. So this is, so we enter one more dot. That means go to the great parents directory. So as here, yeah, you read that, and then here. So now we are in the main directory for Ubuntu. As you can see, there are additional folders or different directories. This is under Ubuntu. Ubuntu contains a home directory. Home contains the user directory. Well, now we are in the main root directory. So over here, as you can see, there is a folder called etc. We open it. These are the directory and the files in etc. So we're there. If you use cd etc, and then again cd dot, the one we entered earlier is the ppp. So we find the ppp here. We open it. In the command, you put the ppp, and as you can see, these are the content belong to it. So ls command, we have this information, this one, versus here, they're same, which means this content. So list command can list the files and the directories for a completely different place without really moving to that place. You don't have to change your cursor to this directory. You can simply in one directory and then shows the content of a very different directory just by typing that directory. So that's the meaning here. So let's use cd. cd means we go back to the main directory, your user folder, the home/user folder. This is our main directory. We can display content of multiple directories together, such as ls. The first directory is /etc/ppp. Put a space, and then the second content is /etc/secure shell, and then enter. As you can see, that's the first part of the content, or the content of the first directory. This is for the second directory. Now let's move to 2.3.1.1. Another command is called echo. Echo. Echo display the text to the terminal and used extensively in shell scripting. For example, we can echo some text that we entered, such as hello world. put an exclamation point. If you do that, as you can see, it just shows, it displays that text, but it has more useful meaning later. The book also mentioned if you have text such as here with a space, a best practice is to put this text inside the quotes, in the double quotes, such as echo, put a double quotation, hello world. This is a best practice. One reason is that, for example, if you name a file or a directory, and if you put a space, and this can be pretty risky. It can cause problems in systems, such as in Linux system. And since some documents or directory need to have space or spaces, when we need to refer that, we need to include the name in the double quotes. Such as here, if you want to make sure it works, let's put a text with space in double quotes. Hello world exclamation point. And then let's move to 2.3.2. Here, continue talking about options. We can try more options such as list with the R option. So R here means reverse. We display the thing in the reverse tab, reverse order. If you don't have that R, you see desktop, documents, downloads, and then reach to videos and the snap. But if you put the R option, you rotate that or reverse that. You have snap and then new file, videos, and then you have downloads, documents, and the desktop. There are additional options we can utilize. We'll learn how to display those options later. Now let's move to 2.4. I talk about exec, executable command. So one exception to the basic command syntax uses the execute command, which take another command to execute as an argument. So what is special about the command that are executed with exec is that they replace the currently running shell. We talk about that soon. And let's move to 2.5, displaying system information. So we can use commands such as uname to display the system information. If you just use uname, it just shows one thing. You're using the system you're using, that's Linux. But if you use an option such as uname, put a -a, all, want to see all information, and then now it gives you this information such as it's Linux, and then the system name, machine, the version is 7.0.0-30 generic, and also the time, and so on. You can also show things. You can also use this uname to show specific things or the attributes. So you can enter uname, put a R. Yeah, so this one gives you the kernel version this system is working on. If you hit enter key, it shows just this part, right? That's 7.0.0/30 -30 and then -generic. The book gives you a list of available options. We have the /A/S/N, and you can try those options to see what's the corresponding information can be displayed. This is not the most important command in my opinion. So let's cover next session, 2.6. This command is pretty useful. It's an easy command, but also pretty useful. It's called the current directory command. Print working directory, PWD. You can enter PWD, and then it shows our current directory is homes directory and then most folder. Of course, you see different directory because you use different username. At the time I create this system, install Ubuntu, I put username Mo, right? You may put your username. So that shows home and then followed by the username you assign to it. This is the current directory. If you enter to maybe downloads folder, and then use the PWD again. This time, right, let me become lazy again. I use the up arrow twice to find the PWD. As you can see, the current directory is home, mo, and the downloads directory. In 2.7, it talks about command information. So here is a way we can figure out what a particular command is about. We can use type. This is the type command. Let's say I want to know what's the ls about. Yeah, so it shows ls is aliased to ls hyphen color equals to auto. Yeah, so this using the a command or using the a option with the type command will run all locations of the file that contain a command. So also called an executable file. For example, we can use type with a option and the ls command. So it shows all these directories, the location of files contains the ls command. So we have this, we have this one, we have here is in the bin ls directory. We can try different ones such as type and then the pwd. So this one is a shell built-in. We have the type IP. This IP command is in the USR as bin and IP directory or IP file. There is another command called the which command, which. So the which command search for the location of a command in the system by searching the path variable. For example, we can use which ls, and then this ls is in this directory and the file. Now let's move to 2.8. Command completion. Now this is a pretty useful feature because again, programmers are lazy. When we need to enter commands, we don't want to enter everything, and then we want the system can help us figure out what's the command. For example, there is a command called a catman. Catman is a command. So I know that begin with C-A, right? Cat, there's a T, but what's next? Maybe it's either I don't remember or I'm just too lazy to type that. We can let the system to help us complete the typing. We can use tab key on the keyboard twice. So once and one more time. And based on what we entered, the cat, there are two options. One is just called cat, concatenation. The other one is catman. So you can see, oh, that's the one. The catman is the one I need. So you can use that. All right, so here I enter M. So that tells the system is not the first one. It should be the second one. And then use the tab again to complete it. Let me do it one more time. If you just enter cat and then hit tab, even twice, right? System won't complete it because it doesn't know among the two options which one you pick. So you have to provide additional letter. So and then the system can figure out, oh, the second one, the cat man. And then next, use the tab key on the keyboard. Just hit it once. System is smart enough to figure this out. Now it complete the command for you. Let's erase that. And then we move to 2.9. 2.9 is about getting help. Let's begin with 2.9.1. There is a useful command in Linux, also in the Cisco IOS. Cisco used a different one, but in Linux it's called man, and the man stands for menu, M-A-N. Put a space, like a user instruction, user menu for each command. The example here shows we want to figure out, or we want to know what a CAL command means. If you enter that, as you can see, here we open the user manual for that particular command, the CAL. The name is called the cal or ncal calendar. This is used to display a calendar and the date of Easter. And then synopsis, we have this cal, ncal, and then give you the description about cal. The cal utility displays a simple calendar in traditional format, and this offers an alternative layout, more options, and the date of Easter. And here shows all the available options belong to this command, and so on. You can use the mouse to scroll down, or you can just use the up and down arrow to move up, move down. You can use page up key on the keyboard or page down key on the keyboard to flip the pages. And as shown here, you can press H for help and the Q for exiting it, for quitting this. So let's quit this instruction. So I enter the Q key on the keyboard. Now we're back to the main bash shell terminal. This is useful, but we won't spend lots of time on it. This is pretty easy and straightforward. These are the most important topics in the command in chapter 2. We're going to use these commands in upcoming chapters. Actually, these are the commands we use most of the time when we use Linux.